Okay, that should be set up. Hello everyone. I don't really see the chat, so you guys have to let me know whether the live stream is working and there is sound and everything. So, hey Tim, do you want to say hi guys so we can check the sound and everything?
Oh, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Hi. Sorry, I probably got a bit of background noise, but I think it's about to go away and shake up my daughter.
People who are joining the live stream are players. First of all, hello, and secondly, can you guys just put in a comment letting us know whether you can hear us and see us well? Everything's good? Okay, good to know. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so I think we're missing Will. I'm actually not sure if he's coming, but yeah, welcome to the May Q&A. Yeah, wow, already May. I can't believe it.
I know, already like flying through May. It's crazy.
I'm still like processing 2019, and it's already and we're already almost in like halfway through 2021. Okay, so we have, as usual, we have 5 main questions that we have picked from the Katie Play thread, and we have a bunch of more questions that you guys have submitted to the same thread, but we didn't really pick them. It doesn't really mean that it's a bad question or anything like that. We're just trying to pick for the top 5. We're trying to pick those questions that are like unique, new, or cover very important topics that for this specific moment in time. So yeah, we have maybe about 10 questions overall. So Daniel Wang is saying he would sell his kidney for a Mercedes update. Yeah, I mean, not bad.
Yeah, no, extreme. Hopefully, he shouldn't have to go to those sort of lengths for a Mercedes update. I think we all want it. It's funny. There's definitely some manufacturers in the game, you know, that were some of the first to go in that are just crying out for you know, our knowledge of. Well, their lists are feel like ancient top drives history in a way, and are really benefit from a freshening up. So
yeah, they will now think that you're telling them the next update is going to be
no, definitely not. No, one of my just more of a personal agreement that we could do some more Mercedes in there.
Yeah, well, I hope you guys are doing all well. We have quite a lot to share today. I mean, I have some information that might be just interesting. Nothing too crazy. Just a little update about what's going on in top drives, and our plans for the next couple of months, I suppose. So we'll start with our main Q&A. We haven't really had this discussion journey. I mean, we've left a couple of notes here on these main 5 questions, which I've not really had time to respond to. Do you want to still go ahead with them, or because they're kind of, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's do that then. And the first question we have comes from the user named The O. And by the way, everyone whose question we have picked for this Q&A, the 5 top questions, they will get a carbon fiber pack. But you don't have to do anything if you have one, because I will award your account automatically. Because if we pick the comments from Katie Play, that means I can see your Hutch ID. So I can just go ahead and award you with the pack. So don't worry, I will get you sorted out with the pack. Probably tomorrow morning will be the earliest. So the first question comes from the user The Owl, and he's asking, or they're asking, about challenges. So, hey guys, the new challenge mode seems to be working well, and I personally appreciate the regular tune-up challenges. Can you comment on what elements you as a team believe have been working well, what you'd like to improve, and how you might be evolving in the future now that you have proven the concept works? Thanks. So first of all, I want to thank you for a very articulate question, it was very easy to read, so I appreciate it. So what do we have to say about this? I mean, the work on challenges is still going on. I mean, we've tried various types of designs and are still testing them, different concepts, as you guys have seen. They vary in difficulty, they vary in requirements, they vary in length, and it's only been a little bit over a month now, well, almost 2 months now actually, that we've introduced the 13.2 update that introduced the improved challenges. So the work is still going on. It's been actually less than 2 months, and you can expect more challenges from us, different designs. So the work is still ongoing. But I don't know, maybe you guys have something to add to this? The question was about the challenges and what do we think works well and what didn't.
So we said this last time, right? I think I said it's a little bit like events were before we invented the Try series, right? It's like, what even makes sense here? And you can see that we've tried out a bunch of things. I think there's still a lot more to try. One of my personal favorite elements of it is the renewed emphasis on the lower rarity end of the game. There was a bit of a migration, maybe, I don't know if it was even a couple of years ago, where we used to have quite a lot of low RQ events. There were problems with those because very often the best hand would be figured out and then everybody at the top would have the same hand and it would just be a lot of ties. It didn't really work. And so we've migrated to higher RQ events, and that meant that the bottom end of the top drives garage was a little bit less used. And you can still use it in club events, obviously, but it doesn't matter so much if you win or lose there anyway. And so I feel like, now in this way, in challenges, that part of the game can come back, and there can be, rewards for having that strength in your garage. And even like this could form part of your growth as a top drives player. You start off building up your rares, uncommons and super rares maybe to get rewards from the challenges, and then you build up to getting a better ultra rare garage. So you start being competitive in challenges, and then you graduate to being more and more competitive in events or something like that. I don't know. This was a high level idea, but that's my favorite thing about it, just the breadth emphasis. Yeah,
absolutely. But you definitely can expect more designs and various concepts in the future. So the work is not going to stop. We will be experimenting for as long as needed, and who knows how long that might be. Maybe the whole process of running these challenges will be all based on experimentation with each new design. So it all depends on what our designers come up with, really. So I wouldn't say.
I think it's. I think we've sort of touched on it already, but I think that's in terms of kind of what's been a real positive for us is the fact that this is a flexible tool. We could, it's obviously entirely possible just to program in a single new challenge type or event type. And I think the reason why this feature took a little bit of time was the flexibility of it. So that just feels like a huge kind of win for the game going forward.
Well, and one other part as well, which will be kind of hidden for players, but as we figure out what works, we bake that into the tool we use to make them as well in a certain way. So right now it's quite manual creating these things. And then when we discover what works, we can actually automate or facilitate that. You've seen there's been a challenge where some of these rounds are too difficult, right? Clearly we need better tools for getting the difficulty right before we go into it. So that's something at the back end we're working on. And there'll be more changes like that. So you won't see it, but there's going to be things that when we discover what works, we can then make it more efficient for us to produce those challenges. And that's when you'll be able to start to see more. But we can't say exactly when that will be, as with everything.
Yeah. So I guess the bottom line is the experiment will continue throughout this year. And no design is final yet. So no concept is final. And you can expect more experiments. So thank you so much, The Owl. Great question, and obviously, challenges is something that we want to touch upon like every once in a while because it's a new thing. Well, not the challenges, but the new design for challenges, and it's something that hopefully you guys are enjoying as well. And you've been asking for a while for us to create more single-player content, so hopefully you're enjoying it. But I've seen, apart from a few minor issues here and there, but some of the challenges being a bit too difficult. Overall, the feedback has been great. And by the way, everyone, if you got both John and Tim, if you are seeing any interesting questions or, in the comment section, don't hesitate to just stop me and read them out. Next question we have, let's just go through the list. Then comes from the user Tongi the Beast. And the question is as such. So could you perhaps explain how hill climb on tarmac works?
So I would like to have a nice answer for this. I mean, the whole concept of the tarmac hill climb is a bit weird. I'll just be the first to admit that. Obviously, the other hill climbs sort of make sense, and we had tarmac available to us, and I think so. It sort of went in the early days of Top Drives, and maybe was one of the challenges that didn't have a sanity check at some point. Is kind of just doesn't make sense. Obviously, you get sort of hill climbing is a motorsports event, but in the sense of a kind of windy course that goes up to the top of a hill. Our other hill climbs almost kind of this scenario of a kind of straight line blast up a muddy slope or a sandy slope. So yeah, sorry, just looking. This is I'm just going to waffle for a bit about why it actually doesn't make a huge amount of sense. The low and the medium ground clearance thing, and then the kind of the high getting the big advantage. It is simply that it's just an overly sort of binary system, really. That is just the way it works. Kind of, I think we get onto this on another question, so we'll kind of touch on this in a minute. But at the moment, we almost assume these courses, whether it's sand, mud, or tarmac, we kind of assumed they were kind of bumpy and almost had kind of sort of sharp dips and drops, and so high ground clearance just get the hill climbing boost. So that's why people are maybe seeing that really kind of big difference in performance when cars are high. And I think that probably covers some of the other part of it, which is just seeing strange results. There really isn't much more to it than that. High gets a big advantage. Weight, Tim, I know you investigated a little bit at some point. Weight kind of creeps into play somewhat.
That's right. Well, back when did we fix it? I think it was after the game about for a year. There was a problem where being heavier made you faster up a hill. Something was the wrong way around. So we sorted that out for sure. And then, yeah, like you say, there is what we term the hill climb bonus. It's not binary though, is it? Right? There is actually a degree. Some cars have a stronger one than others.
There is, yeah. It gets into subjective territory. We probably shouldn't.
Yeah. and there's something very fair about it, right? In that what we run is a single point simulation, right? But the fact is that there's something about climbing a hill, actually no, it depends on where your central gravity is and where, what your suspension is like and all this kind of thing. And so to get over that problem that we have a single point simulation and yet there's a three-dimensional problem is, well, okay, we add the hill climb bonus. We say, okay, well, this car should just be better in that circumstance. So let's give it that. And that can create situations where you can see cars with the same 0 to 60, very similar top speed and MRA, and one of them shoots up the hill. It's because it has that. And like you said, right, in the off-road conditions, it sort of makes more sense. When it's on tarmac, it's much more like, what's really going on here?
Yeah,
like you say, it's because that road is supposed to be bumpy.
Yeah,
but it isn't. I will add one more thing, though, that I do feel like there should be more emphasis on this, that you should really pay attention to the speedometer, not just on the hill climb, but on every track, because there will be a certain speed at which the car spends most of its time. Well, to do the best on that track, you want the best possible acceleration at that speed. And it is not necessarily the 60-100 MRA, which players are into. Maybe you spend most of your time going up that hill between 30 and 40 miles an hour, in which case the acceleration, the strength your car has at that speed is what really matters. So there is that little bit of nuance to it as well, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I was just checking the Facebook live stream, but everything seems to be running fine. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Tongi. You will get the CF pack added to your account very, very soon. I think we have a question in the comments about the next update. So again, guys, nothing we can reveal, unfortunately, but I keep saying that every couple of weeks or a week that you don't have to wait too long. It's coming. You don't have to wait too long. and then I come back to the live stream to say, yeah, I have nothing to share. But don't worry, guys. We want the update to be released just as much as you do. We want new cars. We want new stuff. We want some fresh content for the game, because we haven't had any new car updates since last year, pretty much. So yeah, but you don't have to. You will not have to wait too long. I hope, hopefully.
There's very exciting cars coming.
Yeah, they better be now.
That's not too big a giveaway. There's some intriguing cars.
You've already said too much.
No.
Intriguing. That must be
actually, it's probably worth saying that my barometer. So I'm still involved in the sort of pipeline of new cars a bit, but my barometer is how long I spend flicking through the folder of images, and this one was kind of quite high up the scale. Really.
Good tease.
I have a completely random question, Johnny. Have you been to Aberdeen recently? I think, yeah.
I have, yes. Yeah, blasted up and down the road in the Mercedes.
Nice.
At the weekend.
Yeah, so, I imagine.
I expected to stop about 6 times for fuel, but actually at like 70 miles an hour, or around about that, it's all right. It's like 27, 28 miles to the gallon. Just one stop, and made it almost the full length of the country.
Maybe you want to tell our viewers what Mercedes it was?
Yeah, C6. I mean, it's 8 years old now. 8 years old, C63 coupe. Nothing special. Like completely stock. Nothing done to it, but still it just makes just the loveliest noise. It just reminds me of one of the pod racers from the Phantom Menace. A real kind of off
good noises.
Kind of sound to it, and it's my dad's very into cars, so it was a bit of a. Obviously, it would have been simpler, probably flying, but it was advanced. Take it up and let him have a shot.
Is Aberdeen as miserable as it used to be when I last was there?
I wouldn't ever call Aberdeen miserable. I guess the countryside is probably the highlight of.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just joking. It's just too cold for a bit too cold for my liking. I think.
I think we might have actually been luckier with the weather than it.
Yeah. That's good. Anyway, so Tongi, great question. We'll go to the next one. The next question comes from player named Chief Pack. And I will read out the question now. So it is as such. Considering that you said that cars are tested in the most aggressive, sportiest setting, doesn't the Dodge Demon have a way too high handling, considering it uses and extremely thin tires, which are just built to go straight forward? So at least I would assume the handling's too high. And it's quite a specific question about a specific car.
Yeah, but it's a really interesting point. It's the sort of thing that we debate a lot. The short answer or the completely honest answer is I probably need to go off and sort of investigate this. So our understanding at the moment was that is it Copo? I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Copo kind of Camaros, series of Camaros, I think we have 2 in the game. Those are very obvious. I mean, even in the photos, you can see that they've got the oversized rear tires, kind of the skinny front tires. That they are in drag spec. And as far as I know, we've adjusted handling sort of based on that. The Demon is sort of our take on it at the moment. I know it's sort of contradicting what we said. It's in the most kind of aggressive mode, but it just looks more in kind of road spec. But I need to go and investigate. If any of the players have good information, because obviously it's not a car that we don't have direct sort of experience of that market, or no, sort of it's not a range of cars that are kind of freely available over here. If anybody knows what the standard sort of stock spec is, we can
we do have slightly like non-realistic tires, I guess you could say, right? We call it performance tires. They do have very good grip on dry asphalt. Our performance tires do, right? Possibly more grip than arguably you should. This was this whole thing. I think when we first brought in the Demon, it couldn't actually hit the 0 to 60 that it said on the card because it didn't have enough traction. Maybe we should have just left it because that's realistic. It doesn't have the skinny tires. But fundamentally, you get a car that it says this is the 0 to 60, you expect that's what it's going to do. So, we fixed that by saying, okay, the tires have enough traction. Well, that then begs the question, what kind of tires are they then? How is it exactly doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, and this, I mean, the most extreme, I've probably told this story, or not this story, the anecdote, like far too many times, but the most extreme example of this was back in the very, very first ever version of Top Drives, had a top fuel drag racer with sort of 7,000 brake horsepower. And it was so much fun to put it on something like the fast circuit, because I think it had about handling of 5. So it's got the kind of basically bicycle tire, bicycle kind of front wheels. And it was just so heavy that it would obviously just be off like a rocket and then crawl around the corners at walking pace and then just scream down the back straight. And, it's a good question. I'll definitely sort of mark this up as something to investigate.
Yeah, and yes, Chief Pack, congrats on your CF pack, and I'm pretty sure all of the guys here have never been winners, so it's good that we can give some rewards to other players. Although I have to admit, there were so many good questions in this thread, it was so difficult to choose. There were like really, really good questions this time, so really appreciate the effort from everyone who has took this.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, things like that, it's, we definitely want to get things like that right, because actually the variety that they bring to the game is really compelling. There was an MG when we did the kind of Rover update that I still want to get into the game, which was it was a land, I can't remember what the details were, but it was a land speed record MG really, but within a certain category. So it was, it was really, I think it was sort of 200 miles an hour top speed or something, but it was spec'd for the the salt lakes. Mm-hmm. So it had these really weird skinny tires on it all round. And so that would be a more realistic example of that to get into the game, where it becomes a specialist in certain situations.
Thank you. Paul Watson, this is not true. We've actually answered 3 questions already, not 1. So we're going quite. I think our tempo is quite nice actually right now. So we'll go straight to the 4th question of the top 5. Comes from the user ODoggyDog. And the question is, it was mentioned a while back about adding further sections to ride height. Is this still on the cards? I think this is definitely for Tim, no, or for Johnny. Which one?
I don't know. To Johnny, really.
Yeah, no, happy to jump. But yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. There was a big meeting about this, I think last week. We definitely want to do it. The ride height just is crying out for an overhaul. We know we want to bring in more granularity to it, so that the idea is that all cars should be over something like speed bumps, and then it will have an impact on slopes as well. But all cars should be sort of penalised, and it's almost just like the ride height determines how much of a penalty they receive. That is how we want it to work. Obviously, it's again, anything that changes the results for sort of every car, and every challenge that has, say, a speed bump or a slope on it is not a small undertaking. We're doing just in terms of testing time, things like that.
And also going through the whole catalogue and going, right, is this a medium or is this a low medium?
Yeah, and that probably gets onto the second half of the question, which is how do we? Is that the same question as it? Which is how do we? Where is it? The actual data. Like how do we set those ride heights? It's definitely one of the hardest stats to find. I don't think it's it's definitely not standard practice from all manufacturers to release a ride height. So at the moment,
ground clearance.
Sorry.
We call it ground clearance these days.
Ground clearance. So most it's just not a standard stat to get. So the majority of the cars have been done by eye. We obviously have our correction process, and if people do locate it, which is players locate it, which is really valuable for us, then we feed that in. And that's how we set that benchmark of sort of 137 between low and medium. Realistically, we're going to have to carry on in that vein, really looking for data where we can find it. But if it doesn't exist, then just expert opinion. It's the guys at the Evo it's the team at Evo Magazine who are putting that data in still. So they definitely have an expert eye for ground clearance.
Yeah, great question, and I think this is definitely on the cards. I don't want to like make it sound like next week we're changing ground clearances for all cars. It's not exactly that, but I just want to let everyone know that we're thinking about it, and I remember the last time we answered the question about ground clearance about maybe 3-4 months ago. And we didn't really have much to say, so it's good that to give update about these things occasionally.
Progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, great question. The Doggy Dog. Final question is from a user on KT Play. Their name is Valley Klaus. And yeah, so this is coming back to the challenges really, and I think we have a couple more like secondary questions to talk about the challenges as well. But this question is as such. Hi Hutch, I really like the new challenge mode from the last update. Thank you for that. But now I wonder what's coming next. Can you tell us what is the roadmap for the next months, or when the next big challenge like Year of the Ox comes? So there are big challenges that are being designed right now. This is something I can say. So that we have a couple of very interesting designs that will be releasing on Top Drives fairly soon. So the work is underway, and when design is being made, that means that they're pretty close to release now, because this is sort of the last stage of it really. To say, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the live stream, we're still going to be experimenting. So this is it is the roadmap, is that we're going to be still experimenting with different designs, introducing different concepts. I don't know, do you guys have anything to add to
that? Yeah, I should just add, in terms of, it's not exactly a roadmap, but details, one of the things that we're looking into is this idea of replaying challenges, so that if you get to the certain point and then you're stuck, you at least can get the value of your attempts by replaying that and getting a prize repeatedly. That's something that we're looking into doing. And then another one is, so you recall there was this interesting thing where we had, now what did we call it? There was like a loyalty and I can't remember, another kind of token. Yeah. And then you could use those to enter another challenge and win an ultra rare car. And that worked. You'd earn the token and then you could go and get one of those ultra rare cars, but it was sort of a little bit weird. And the challenge to get that ultra rare was no kind of challenge at all. It was RQ 500. You could do it easily. And clearly that was a substitute for, you can exchange tokens for a car or a pack, right? We're just cramming in this methodology via the levers that we have. So we're looking into, okay, well, what if you earn tokens and then literally in the store, there's a pack and it costs 5 tokens. And you're like, oh, I've collected 5, I can buy this pack now, rather than this slightly artificial version of there's another challenge with it going. So that would make a bit more sense and allow us to mix things up a little bit more. Now, because that's an example of one of the things we've seen that we think works quite well in the challenges that we're going to build on.
Yeah, that's quite interesting with the ability to replay that the final round. I think that's going to be pretty big thing, especially for those players who may not have very strong garages or maybe new to the game. This is going to be pretty useful, I think. But it just goes to show like how much experimenting we're thinking about. We do listen to what you guys are saying to us, and the feedback about challenges. It's something that we receive every day. So far, no one's been very shy of expressing their opinion about challenges, etc. So there's a lot, that we can look at. I think we will have a little bit more to say about challenges. I can't really recall in the next couple of questions. But anyway, this was the top 5 questions. So Valley Klaus, congratulations on getting your carbon fiber pack. We have a bunch of more questions, and one of them is actually just came from the comment section from user Delian. Any update on the retune feature? So again, something we talk about occasionally, but it's definitely worth repeating. Our position hasn't really changed that much, so it's still going to be coming together with engine changes and improvements. So and it's going to be a one-off feature as well. So it's important to remember that it's not going to be available to you at any point in time. So it's not like you will be at any point in time will be able to remove fuses from your car and put them in or maybe fuse it in a different way, because it's not really realistic. That would kind of kill the whole process of collecting cars, because that's the whole point of them. You fuse them differently and you put them in your collection. But if you can change that all the time, then it's kind of very much a game breaking thing. So it's a one-off. But so yeah, I'm just like trying to manage expectations, because to me it seems that people are still like believing that it will be available to you at all times. You will be able to change tunes all the time. No, it's not going to happen. It's only going to happen once, and it will happen when we bring changes to the game engine. It's just that we expect these changes to be significant enough to warrant the introduction of this feature for this particular time.
We have been talking about it for a very long time. This is kind of the price you pay for, like, you get to hear about stuff that's in development, but things change, priorities change, other things come up, and maybe it gets pushed back. And so that's why usually we'll never say anything about a specific date, because things can always change. And this happens to be one of the things that's been a long time in there. We just want to be very sure about it.
Yeah, I think because it's not a victim of its own success is the wrong word, but it's one of these things that's if we're going to be changing, we're doing quite a sort of big change to the kind of engine to fix some of the kind of outstanding issues. And it's kind of, if we're doing that, then it makes sense to look at things like ground clearance at the same time, and then it makes sense to look at this and look at that, and it becomes bigger.
That's right.
We can we can come up with a test plan that is going to test all those things in kind of in sort of one process.
And then it's less destructive for players as well. It's not like, here's an update, we've changed how hills work, and now we've changed how ground clearance works, and now we've changed the MRA curve, and now we've got rid of the engine traction bonus. Just every update you're like, oh, what do I do with my garage now? What's this? It's going to be smaller but of bigger sets of changes.
Yeah, but it's still worthwhile giving an update. By the way, I remembered one thing. It's completely unrelated to the previous question, but we have recorded the new showcase episode for the Chrysler ME412, and this will go live right after the live stream. I will upload it to our YouTube channel. It will still be available to you guys before the finals begin at 10 p.m. UK time. But just want to let everyone know that you can expect the showcase episode very soon. I already have the
quite the car. It feels like it's the top end on that car is just incredible. Like it just keeps going and going and going on the longer drags and the bowl and things like that.
It is one of the prize cars that I did manage to win the first time around, and I can tell you, I've got 1,283 races on it, with a win rate of 88%. And that's not, I've not put any upgrades on it. So, comes up quite often. It's quite nice for the top end,
Yeah. Okay, I don't know, so we have so many new questions. Maybe we should start giving CF packs to everyone. Like, I think just unfair that
Whoa.
Well, I don't know. It just feels like a bit unfair that there are some good questions that are not in the top 5. So I don't know. Anyway,
actually, I saw one in the chat that somebody was like, on the topic of ground clearance, the RQ28 Ford Taurus show, they can fit under it, and I just looked it up real quick just now. And it does look as if it has 152 mil of ground clearance, which certainly should put it in the medium bracket and not low.
Yeah, so we should get that in.
Take that on the list.
Make a note to get into correct. Slightly scary to try and fit under it as well. Well, I guess if you're doing a few repairs or something.
Yeah. So there you go. Noted.
I did see. I know. We probably don't want to spend too long on it, but I did see another question just about somebody spotting the adverts that pop up with lovely looking graphics, and that is absolutely still a thing. That's I don't know what, It's just, again, it's a big piece of work, and
it's going to come.
It will be being sort of rolled out, but it does. I love it. I and again, probably repeating myself, but I still get caught out by those adverts. If I'm on Instagram or something and I'm scrolling down and like one of those adverts pop up, it's just like, oh wow, what is that game? Like that feels very much up my, and it's like, oh, it's Top Tries.
Yeah, I think I've talked about this a week ago on the Friday live stream, that these ads are actually like sort of drivers for us to test how these various environments are actually performing. So we're able to know, like, do people actually like these environments more than the ones that we have in the game right now? Do more people click them? So it's these ads are a way to test them as well. So it's not they're popping up there not for a very good reason. They're not just some like completely fake, just made up environments to trick people into believing that this is how Top Drives looks like. No, it's going to be looking like that in the future. We have a kind of funny question from Square Mango. I found it funny. So, is it possible to add a lock? Basically, if I'm determined to save for the next update and then a Mazda CF comes out, I want the Ferrari so open packs. Can you add a lock feature that basically disables me from spending my hard-earned gold if I'm tempted? Yeah, I mean,
I world of Top Drives, man. The game teaches you discipline. This is the game. You must learn not to spend all of your cash and gold.
I swear to God, Square Mango shared one more question right after this one, and it was related to exactly the same thing. Something just about something different, but it was also about like how do I control myself better to not spend all the gold. And I don't know. I feel like it's a kind of not a right question, but it's a reasonable question because as soon as I have gold, I just have to spend it. I can't hold any gold on my account. Like it's impossible. If I buy like 2.5, 3, any sort of amount, I just will play a little bit and I just have to buy the CF pack, some kind of CF. Like I can't do anything about it. So yeah, I can appreciate that.
Well, there is a thing I think it makes sense depending on how far through you are in your Top Drives career as well. At the beginning, you need to build up. You need more ultra rares. You need that chance of epics. You just need a lot of them, and then it's really towards the late game where it's like now you should hold until the exact right moment comes up, and then you invest. That's what I do. Let me tell you a little story about a motorsport carbon fiber. I hold my gold very closely now. I wait for the right opportunity for a Tri-Series final. But when that motorsport carbon fiber comes up, it's like even now. There are ultra rares there I still don't have. Ultra rares I wouldn't mind having a duplicate of. A bunch of great epics I don't have and a bunch of amazing legendaries that I don't have. So it's like, all right, I'm holding my gold, but let's just buy one. Right? Let me tell you that the 4th card that came out was an epic, right? And that it only gets better from there. I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. And it wasn't just any epic as well. It was the RQ76 1982 Jaguar XJ STWR. Now, I do already have one. But I don't mind having a duplicate of that at all. So then it's like, what's the next one going to be? Another epic or even better? And it was the Porsche 962C, which I did not have. It's been 3 years, that game. That's been out. Never got it. And then it finally came in double stacked in one carbon fiber. That's the joy of it. So yeah, Motorsport CF. So don't feel too bad about spending your gold on that one, I would say. You
should go the 888 fuses for it. There's
right.
There's 2 to 3.
Elite method, man.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think.
Or maybe 962, because you can.
It works.
Wow, that would be. Yeah, quite a bit of flair.
Very, very cool car.
I haven't upgraded the chassis yet. I can still do it. I can still do 962. Right.
Next question. I'm actually going to skip guys one so you don't get confused. I just want to let you know. This one is from a Henry. We know the yellowbird challenge was never intended to be just one-off. What's next and when, please? Renown is getting a bit silly. So I have a line here that we can tell you, and it is that the code support for the next championships is done. So the only things left to do is the design. Currently we're pushing out more designs directly into challenges, however, but we want to run more championships certainly. So yeah, I hope that gives at least a little bit more clarity that we want to do more championships. We're currently putting all our efforts into design of the current challenges going on. But eventually we want to bring the more championships to you guys, and I think we've even had some discussions about what could be the next prize car recently. So that's interesting. There are quite a few candidates that look pretty good and very interesting, and a couple that have been suggested by the community as well. So yeah, championships. Yeah.
I will say that the Renown is more useful now than it was before because of these lower RQ challenges that come up. well, quite often actually, there's a car that will help you in the yellowbird. So I needed another rare Renault the other day. I thought I was doing all right for those, but no, I needed one more. Well, actually, yeah, you could go in there, and there's an 80% chance you'll drop that rare Renault specifically. So I'm using my Renown now more than I was before. Before you just hit that last one and just hope that you get the off-road Porsche. I saw somebody say, by the way, that they're at 30 attempts and still waiting to get that. It's a 10% chance each time for 300 Renown, and you might get the Porsche Rally spec. I just ran the numbers. The odds of going 30 without getting it at all are about 1 in 24. So not that long, actually. So you just have 100 players who are hitting that all the time. 4 of them are going to go 30 runs without getting it. So that's probability for you. Their suggestion for a feature is that there should be just a point where it's just like, you know what, you've done it enough, you can have it now. I can see where that comes from, but I can also see that not being a high enough priority thing for us to really get on when there's so many other things that benefit you so much else in the game. And eventually you are going to get it anyway. I mean, you have to be really unlucky to never get it. So I'm not sure about that as a feature, I'm afraid.
Yeah, by the way, I'm finding the threads for these Q&A live streams quite useful, because people often post their like quality of life suggestions as well, and I can actually go ahead and maybe literally calculate the number of times certain features or quality of life features have been mentioned, and we can move forward that to the team. So I have this on my plan for the next couple of days to maybe look at some of the previous Q&As that we've done and see which themes pop up more than often. It's just
on that note, though, what's going on? My Top Drives bingo card is empty. Nobody said Ferrari or Tesla. Where are they all gone? What? Nobody wants them anymore.
Maybe
that's it. Take them off the list, John. We're not putting it in anymore. Nobody wants them.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Ferrari after this and tell them that we don't want them anymore. So they don't need to get in touch with us. Yeah, that's good. I'm in like Shoreditch right now, and there's so many Teslas around here. It's crazy. And there's like every second car is a Tesla or BMW i3.
Wow.
Okay, I'm still gonna skip the question that I've mentioned before. It's a bit complicated. I don't want to go into that. I think this one is for both of you really. So, what are you going to do when you run out of car brands to add? Which hopefully never happens.
I think. I mean, our feeling at the moment is that there is still a long way to go. I think even just that that original that comment right at the beginning about Mercedes. I mean, obviously, every manufacturer is adding new models every year, and they just seem to be getting better and better. So there's definitely no, there's no sort of issue with that side of things. But I think I think there's another aspect to this, which is sort of kind of tuners is an area that we haven't sort of touched on much. That idea of it's a massive industry in its own right, and actually opens up some really interesting avenues for taking models that people know, but what the kind of tuning industry does with them. So yeah, I think the kind of the combination of some new manufacturers, really adding to the manufacturers that are light. There's still a lot of cars, a lot of very cool, iconic cars, and sort of new, bang up to date cars that need to go in. And then the kind of tuning industry as well feels like when we sort of have run some projections out, I feel like there's absolutely no end in sight.
Yeah, and I actually have a response directly from Robin, I think, so that's good. I'm gonna read it out. So we definitely want to introduce special editions of cars, and we think there's a lot of interesting aftermarket performance tuners that will be at home in Top Drives. Was it you, Johnny, or was it did you?
No, that's from Robin.
Okay, so yeah, as I said, we think there's a lot of interesting aftermarket performance tuners that will be at home in Top Drives. Plus, each year new cars will be released. This combination gives us confidence that we can keep adding exciting content for years to come. Robin actually has a question for you guys. If anyone's watching the live stream or watching it after it's already finished, you can put your answer in the comments below. An open question for the audience: in a few years, if players' garages keep improving and there aren't so many cars left to be added, how would you like us to keep winning cars and racing fresh? So I'll repeat that. In a few years, if players' garages keep improving and there aren't so many cars left to be added, how would you like us to keep winning cars and racing fresh? So if you guys have an opinion, please put it in the comments under this video right now.
It's a fairly chunky question.
Yeah, but it's very reasonable, and I think it goes to show that we're thinking about top drives years ahead. It's not like we're not thinking about it coming to an end at all. This is not an option. So there are many years for you guys to enjoy the game and for us to keep developing it and making it better for all of you.
Yeah. Also, just on that note as well, I see Daniel Wang saying new models are getting better and better, so the standard of cars is going to get better. And then what's going to happen to your RQ80 Legends? They're not as good. Two things on that. One is new cars are better, but they're not always at the top end of the legendary scale. There's 20 cars that will come out ultra rare or beyond. But also, you may notice in the RQ distribution, we've left some room, right? There's only 4 RQ100s. There's only 3 RQ99s. But if you scroll along, to RQ90, there's a whole bunch. So the distribution of legendaries is currently a little bit to the side. So there's sort of room up there without it completely changing the distribution of the game as well.
That's very interesting. So I guess Bugatti Chiron's being like a sort of a benchmark for all the other cars at the moment. Being the fastest of them. I don't know which is still like the top best car that we have in the game. Is it still the Chiron Sport, I think, or something else? I don't know. I can't remember.
It's exceptional kind of all rounder. There's the Peugeot 905B. 905B.
Only RQ99, but that's because it's got slick tires. So it's taken down a little bit if you were trying anyone else. The Rimac C2 is going to be interesting. That's not come out yet.
No, I feel
amazing.
I feel like at some I feel like I repeat myself quite a lot on this show, but at some point I think we need to have a chat with Porsche about the is it the 919 Evo, their race car? I think it's 919. But where it's a race car, and then the Evo is just where they basically let the engineers just go crazy. So forget any kind of rules and regulations and conforming to kind of race series specs and just go nuts. And just the footage of it just genuinely looks sped up. Like it just sticks to the ground, like sticks to the track, like absolute crazy. So it would be interesting to see what the Evo team, if we managed to get that into the game, what they think of its handling score.
Yeah, I just can't even imagine having a car like this in the game, because it will players will be saying no, never release it. Just we don't want all of our cars to be beaten, or maybe like never do any requirements with this car later after you've launched it. So I can imagine. I mean, we've had a bit of a discussion with the Jesco Absolute, which was released just recently. So I think the discussions will be almost the same, if not worse. Jesco is a very interesting car indeed. We have a couple more fun, I guess, questions. One is, can we have Cars and Coffee live stream with other crew members like Will or John or Tim? I think Will said that he wants to come. So I'm definitely bringing him to one of the next live streams for sure. I don't know, guys. You guys are very busy. I don't even want to dive into this area, and I think doing these Q&A live streams at least once a month is it's already quite a lot for you.
Yeah, that's a lot. I feel like it does. I don't. Again, the logistics start sort of really ramping up, but we're definitely as a company doing a few more. Not everyone, but a few people in the company are doing some more track days this year. Mm-hmm. So just heading down Brands Hatch is generally our local track, which is lucky because it's a great circuit. And actually, one of my favorite things is just going down and actually just seeing. You never know what's going to be turning up. Last week it was there was some part of the kind of Peugeot 306 owners club, or you know, a Peugeot 306 sort of owners group, with just some like amazing kind of tricked out kind of track spec 306s. And yeah, it's just, you know, in a way it would be great maybe at some point over summer just to get our camera down there and actually do one from the pit lane, just go around and have a look at what's turned up.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of people on Discord who have who said, I think it's C6, who said that he would love to come with us for track days. I think he has like 20 cars or something like that. So, yeah, I said that he will be glad to see us, and I think it's definitely we've talked about it a lot, but I don't know. With the COVID, it's a bit difficult to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. At the moment, we need things to kind of ease just a little bit more to make that feasible.
Yeah.
Although actually after the last one, I have a newfound respect for BMW M3 GTSs and M4 GTSs. I mean, they've always been an impressive car, but I think there were 3 at the last day, and they are just an absolute beast out on the track. It's great to see to see stuff like that out in sort of being used in full anger.
I have one more question that I think we should talk about. There are 2 more that are like more quality of life that I don't want to talk about them. I'd rather just put them together and send to the team. But this one is about the McLaren Mercedes. So why is the RQ79 and RQ77 SLRs only show up as a McLaren and not Mercedes? They have the Mercedes badge on the car. Could it be possible to have it under both manufacturers? I think we've talked about it before, but I can't remember if it was during the Q&As.
We have. This is one of these ones that I would need to go off and almost like refresh myself about, because it always really confused me. I mean, the main answer in terms of, well, why don't we just have it both, is just simply the way the code works. You can assign a manufacturer, and also this. I mean, this car did have it's a slightly unusual kind of licensing agreement. It was just, and it's just the way that the name needs to appear. For us to do it correct, well, it just would have required a kind of rewrite of some of the kind of name handling code. And again, it's just for that very limited use. That time's being spent elsewhere. So
that's what I remember. It's a combination of licensing and code. But here's the thing: we've got flexible criteria now. You're starting to see them come into events. We could do an event that is 5 times Mercedes or McLaren.
Yeah.
And then, hey, everybody's welcome. There will be a lot of McLarens there, I expect. But, with an RQ limit, maybe it's reasonable. So, yeah.
Definitely get the fact that it's a bit of a frustration there.
An interesting, again, Daniel Wang, thank you very much for being active on the live stream today with your questions. Really appreciate it. The question is, not exactly the question, but the Blossom said that the last Tri-Series that awarded an Epic was March of 2020. Do you guys plan to rerun Epics again? And it's funny because I was actually looking into it yesterday, and I think it was the Metro G64 or R6.
6R4.
6R4, yeah, there we go. And I thought it was a legendary for some reason, but then I looked at it, apparently it was an epic. So, yeah, I don't think we have much to say on that, to be honest. As far as I'm aware, the next prize cars we've looked at were all legendaries. So,
well, you'll notice from the collection challenges, you're getting epic prize cars out of those, and that's become, in top drives, the most common way to get a epic prize car now. So it does seem quite likely that's the way it's going to go.
I do really like prize car epics and like super rares for some reason. I don't know, just they feel like I can actually get them a little bit easier, but at the same time there's still a certain level of exclusivity in them. I think I've got quite a few of those off-roaders that are epics, like the Jaguar and the Hummer, all that came from the Year of the Ox, I think. So.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I love it as well when you can upgrade them more easily as well.
Yeah.
So I actually have the 2007 Alfa Romeo 8C Competition RQ74, and there was a Tri-Series where unusually prize cars were allowed in. This was the only one. Because it wasn't too dominant, there were also, some other Alfa Romeos that were actually a bit better. But I got to max it for that. And that feels great. I wish I could do that more often. Maxing a prize car, yeah.
How about a black market for... Oh wait, did that just got removed? Oh no, how about a black market to get specific cars? Interestingly, I've asked one question to Robin, but he responded with a slightly different response, and but I still want to read out it for you guys because it's quite important and interesting. So there's something I'm not sure if we mentioned before, but we have this idea of shards. I think we did speak about this on Discord some time ago. But basically the shards, what is the idea of them, is that they will give us an option to award cars which we would likely to do more often, and those specific cars will be more easily upgradable as well. So maybe as you complete a challenge, you get more food for one particular car. But this is not in development yet, this is just one of the ideas. But what I think it shows is we're trying to think outside of the box when we're coming to these questions of upgrading cars. It's not like I know there are certain things have been running for the past over 3 years now, but there are still changes we want to do even to upgrading your cars. Anything can become, why not award you an upgrade to your car in a challenge, for example. This is a possibility. So it just goes to show that we're trying to think outside of the box. I think this was my last question. So unless we have something in the comments section. Toyota, no. Nothing about the Toyota. Yes, and by the way, Welsh boy, you're absolutely correct. Smash that like button, guys. This will help us get into trending. So yeah, I guess nothing else. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're about to finish. So you can replay this live stream on our YouTube channel. It will be automatically uploaded. I think tomorrow morning. It does its own thing. The YouTube. Don't ask me. I would prefer that it uploaded immediately, but it doesn't always happen. So what do we have in the agenda? We have the Chrysler ME412 Tri-Series starting today. Quite exciting. Let's see how that goes. The showcase episode will be published in about half an hour from now, so look forward to that as well. I've not looked into the game. Do we have any new events that started today or challenges? I don't think we do.
We've got the Tri-Series tune-up. Which has started earlier than they have done in the past. You can get in there right now with your 2007 cars, which is a bit of a challenge, but there is a 2007 standard pack available in the store for a little bit of cash if you do need to top them up. Yep, it's live. Yep, and I've seen some good feedback on it as well. But thank you so much, Tim and John, for coming along once again. Really appreciate you taking the time. I think that's all. I'm not going to be live streaming tomorrow, but I will try to do the live stream next week, and maybe, who knows, we will bring Will along as well. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you in the next episode then. Thank you, guys. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks again, guys, for joining today. I hope you found the answers to the questions reasonable, but don't forget that the Q&A will come back next month once again, and you will get a chance to ask any more questions. And I think I should be giving a bit more rewards to you guys, because there's quite a few people who put a lot of effort into these questions. So we'll see. Maybe we will expand the prize board a little bit more for the next one. But for now, I'm wishing you good luck in the finals, and have a great weekend, as tomorrow is Friday. And thank you for watching the live stream. Bye bye.